Good evening, Sean, from good afternoon, New Brighton, Wirral. How are you doing?
Reporting in from Hanoi, Vietnam. I'm all right, thank you very much.
Hanoi.
Killing myself a week. Killing a week before I get off to the Hong Kong races after last week's Japan Cup, which was excellent. But we're not boring people with chit chat this week, are we, Ron? We're going to go.
No, we're cutting straight to the chase. And before I start bragging about having a 14-1 winner that wins at 85-40, yeah. I'll be honest, I never saw it coming. But after watching the markets right the way from basically when we closed down the podcast, the markets were just all over it like a bad rash, and it just went right the way through up until off time. Because it opened up 18-1, that horse.
Wow.
And goes up 85-40 favourites. Unbelievable. But I'll take it.
Congratulations to anybody who listened to the podcast and took the 14s. Drinks are on you when we meet up somewhere in the future.
For all those who aren't subscribed, last week with my own ratings, the pen and paper ratings as I refer them to now because we've also got the computer ratings, we had an 80-1 winner in the top three, an 18-1 top rated winner. And I'll tell you what, you're never going to get those on a podcast, so you might as well subscribe, you know. We'll fill your boots.
Not going to get them from me, that's for sure.
Yeah, 80-1, top three it was, yeah. Unbelievable.
I was just thinking we're getting so old and there's so many youngsters out there that we might have to explain what pen and paper means.
Yeah. When was the last time they wrote a letter? There you go.
I remember the last time I wrote a letter. You hand your forms when you go in the board. Can you fill this out? I don't remember the last time I picked up a biro. How do I do that? So long since I wrote anything, but still.
I actually do produce pen and paper ratings. I'll show you one day.
Well done.
I won't show you how to do it, but I'll show you one.
Because then you'd have to kill me if you showed me how you did it.
That's that. So the old saying goes, yeah.
I'm not really up for that at the moment. Apologies in advance for everybody for this weekend's racing. I picked the. We try to avoid all bar one handicap. Specifically because Ron's ratings, people pay for those ratings and we can't give everything away for free. So I don't pick those. I try and pick the listed races, or if it's on the flat, the group races and so on. We're ending up with some fairly small fields again, I'm afraid.
But I mean, that being said, even the handicap's an 8-runner race, I think it is, 8 or 9. So it's just the way it is at the moment. If you've got that much racing and everybody now wants 7 or 8 or 9 races, where are all the horses for these races, you know?
In another country.
My philosophy now is, if we find a winner, we make a profit, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's fair comment. I like to look for something a little each way now and again if we can find one. Because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But when you've got these sort of 4, 5, 6 runner races, you're sort of stuck with, well, I wouldn't mind going each way, but what's the point? It's got to finish first or second. I'm looking at something that might finish third or fourth. That's whinging. I'm not here to whinge. I'm just here to explain why. Why is that bloke picked those 5 runner races? Well, because that's the choices we had.
That's what we've got, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you know what? We're going to start with the Sandown 12-10.
Well, go on then.
When I was working on, we've done 3 races from Sandown, and when I was working on them, I was thinking, we recently discussed Paul Nicholls and could he ever be champion trainer again? And I think the fact that in the 3 races that we're going to be discussing in this podcast, he's not got one single runner. Not one. So I'm thinking that suggests it's highly unlikely he's ever going to be champion trainer.
I think it's unlikely because the next generation are coming through, etc. But he's had quite a few winners recently. He's got some decent horses in his care. He's still capable. He's still got the fire in his belly. I can promise you that.
But it's the prize money, isn't it? You've got to be winning the prize money.
Yeah.
And he's not got the ammunition for the prize money.
I don't know. I think it's a shame because I don't know the reasoning why owners are moving horses from his yard to elsewhere.
I know.
It's not like, to the best of my knowledge, he's ever done anything wrong. I haven't heard anything on the rumour mill. I think it's become almost like a fashion thing.
Well, it is. I mean, you've got the likes of Harry Durham and Ollie Murphy now. They're the up-and-comings. I mean, it's not going to be long before Henderson finds himself in the same boat. If he wasn't supported by the likes of JP McManus and the bigger owners, he'd probably be in the same boat.
Horrifying thought for all concerned.
Isn't it just? Yeah.
Maybe I'm just old school. I think if you give Nicholls the ammunition, he'll still fire in the winners. He's got the facilities as good as or better than anybody else. So I don't see what the issue is. But never mind, this Sandown 12:10. I took one look at that and I thought, oh, silly little race like that, what's the point? And then we find out, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they all win last time out, every single
I've
runner?
actually written that. Only 5 go into post, but what an absolute crackerjack of a race it is. All winners last time out. But sitting at number 5 on the list of runners is one of my 20 to follow, Sober Glory.
Oh,
Sober
right.
Glory. Absolutely dotted up on seasonal debut. It was also his hurdling debut, and he bolted in by 12 lengths, hard held. He looks a serious piece of kit. He was unbeaten in 4 bumpers last season. He's considered more than useful. One of the members, once they'd read the 20 to follow, he's connected to Mick Fitzgerald in some way, I believe. And he actually sent me a message that said Mick Fitzgerald's put him up as his one horse to follow this season. So I wasn't on the wrong lines, was I?
Doesn't sound like it.
He's also a 5-year-old, and that actually fits the current trend regarding the age grouping for this race. They've won the last 3, and they've also won 5 of the last 7. But then 4 of the 5 in this race are 5-year-olds. They all carry the same weight. So it's the market positioning that I need to get the rubber stamp of the chances of Sober Glory. 4 of the last 6 winners of this race returned SPs, suggesting that you want to go off favourite and also trading odds on. The only tissue that I can find this early, and we're doing this on a Thursday, by the way, Sober Glory's in at 10 to 11, and he fits the race like a glove. He's got to be my selection for the 12:10.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I had a look through the previous runnings. Honky Tonk Highway won it last year for the Skeltons. He's running elsewhere on the card, by the way. Gary Moore's won it twice in the last decade. So's Nicky Henderson. So's Colin Tizard. Now not replaced by Joe Tizard, but Joe's now got his name on the licence. They've all won it twice. Look at the final declarations, and only the Moores have got one left. So that's Hurricane Pat. Sent off odds on before winning last month. He can go well, I think, using that statistic to go on. I'm afraid I've come down on Sober Glory side as well.
Yeah.
I was told by my father 101 years ago, or so it feels anyway, that always look out for any horse that wins more than one bumper.
Yeah.
Because winning a bumper under a penalty is not an easy thing to do.
It means
he's liable to be a pretty decent horse. Well, he's done that. So that suggests he can go well. If there's a little niggle, the only niggle I have is he made it all at Chepstow to go on from the front. I can see fresh perspective may give him a bit of hassle for the lead early on.
Yeah.
That's a possibility that they could potentially go a little bit faster than they'd like if they take each other on. However, he's won a point to point, so he stays 3 miles. So it won't be his stamina that gives out. So, yeah, I'm interested how every one of them will win the last time out. It's a far better race than I thought it was going to be when I put it up in the first place. Interesting, and I suggest Sober Glory will win. I'd also suggest it's a race worth watching.
Oh, God, it is, yeah.
Got the chance, because he looks one of the better novice hurdles we've seen so far this season. And one of these could go on to glory and bigger and better things.
You would hope so. And I hope it's Sober Glory.
Well, don't we both? Now we head up your neck of the woods, Ron.
Yeah. Now, at the moment, we're looking at the 130 at Aintree, which we put in as our obligatory handicap for the podcast.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you now, we're having some seriously wet weather up this end of the country at the moment. It's absolutely tipping it down as I speak. So Aintree could well be heavy by off time. At the moment, they're describing it as good to soft. You can bin that straight away. I looked at their forecast for rain between now and Saturday, up to 23 millimetres, and that includes 5 during racing. So it ain't going to be good to soft. Now, it was good to soft in 2023. That was the last time this race was run. And Richmond Lake hosed up at 4 to 1. Now, he's back for another shot at it, and he's one of just 7 set to race, unfortunately. He's had a wind up, and he races second time following that procedure. But if he wins, he's going to be just the second 9-year-old to win in the last decade. I like the 7-year-olds. They've won the last 2 runnings and 4 of the last 10. Now, when you consider that in the last 10, you've had horses winning at age 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. In those 10 years, 40% of them being age 7, that's a major positive in my eyes. And that basically gives me 2 to look at, the Kaluki Kid and Bleu d'Enfer. I definitely prefer horses at the top end of the 11 stone scale. And that's definitely pointing me in the direction of Nicky Richards' horse, the Kaluki Kid. Very lightly raced over fences, just 5 runs over them to date. He's won 2, placed in another. Blood on Fair arrives much more exposed. He raced over in Ireland before joining his current stable. 14 runs, just 1 win. It's the Kaluki Kid for me. It's got to be.
Okay, well, it's interesting how we can profile and look at races, same facts, and see things differently. I'm not saying I'm right either. We'll wait and see. Yeah, this used to be a Class 3, by the way. It's now been up to a Class 2. So there must be some decent horses running in it. As you say, Richmond Lake won it in 2023. They didn't run the race last year. I don't actually know why. No winners bigger than 12 to 1. 7 of the 8 who finished on their previous start came home in the first 3. 8 of the 9 winners were aged 7 or above. 8 were rated 127 or more. 8 were rated 142 or lower. 8 had raced within the last 60 days. Put those together, and I only end up with 2 horses left: Richmond Lake and Margaret's Legacy. Richmond Lake won this last year in 2023. Raced off £7 lower this time around, which is handy. However, we have to be added that his win here in 2023 was his last victory. He's had 11 unsuccessful runs in between. He's had some kind of wind surgery. They don't tell us what it is. They just say it's wind surgery. And he had a pipe opener when 3rd at Bangor, albeit well beaten. Off this weight, I think he's got as good a chance as any. So it's going to be Richmond's Lake for me. Margaret's Legacy is a year younger, but he's only got 5 less runs on the clock. May chase him over, but he needs a career best off his current mark. Not sure he can do that. We'll have to wait and see. Could prove me wrong. But Richmond Lake for me, not a race with all that much confidence, to be fair.
No, I was the same. It's one of those you could probably pick 3 or 4 and still get it wrong. There's only 7.
It's one of those days where you've got short prices that look good things in a load of races, and then other races like that little bit. But it's not just it's a handicap. It's just something a little complicated about it. Nothing sort of.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing how it comes out on ratings.
Yes.
That should be interesting.
I shall tune in to find out. I shall look at whatever time of morning I get up and find out tomorrow morning. I shall try and find out. Right, on to the 150 at Sandown, Ron. What do you make? Well, I suspect we have the same horse, but still.
We've only got 4 going to post, and the highest rated horse in the race, Lulamba, actually receives £6 and more from the older horses, who should be actually getting upwards of £6. So how can he get beaten? He's been second favourite for the Arkle at the festival in March next year, since Henderson announced that he was a bit of a flying machine over a fence. And he did win like one on debut when he beat Fingal Bridge by 10 lengths. Never turned a hair that day. His only defeat to date so far has come in the Triumph Hurdle, when he was beaten by the Mullins Hot Pot under to 1 shot. Remember that? And I've got to be honest, I can't go against him here. I did look at what the others could do, might do, may do. I won't be betting either because I don't like odds-on shots in novice chases. They're a bit like landmines. I've got no intention of standing on one. It's got to be Lulamba for me, but I won't be backing it.
I was, it's going to sound a terrible thing to say, I was pleasantly surprised to see him forecast at about 8 to 11. I thought that's actually quite good value.
Yeah.
I understand and accept what you're saying, odds on in novice chases. I can't disagree. On what he's done, what he's capable of, and what he looks like he's capable of. I mean, the word coming out of the Henderson yard is he's the next Sprinter Sacra, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
There has to be some horse to be as good as that, to be fair. But, I mean, he, as you say, he got beaten in the Triumph Hurdle, reversed that form and won the champion 4-year-old hurdle at Punchestown the next time out to show that that was an anomaly. Switched defensive with an easy 10-length win, didn't touch a twig. This was always his aim, so it's not like he's come here instead of somewhere else because ground has changed or anything. This has always been the aim ever since. 3 opponents only, 8 to 11. If that's the case, I genuinely think you get told off for saying 8 to 11 is value. If you were pricing up that race, I would have him at 3 to 1 on.
I was just going to say 1 to 3. Yeah.
So therefore, in comparison, 8 to 11 becomes value. Doesn't mean he's going to win, doesn't mean he's not going to win. It doesn't mean you should be backing him odds on. But if you were pricing that race up, and this is talking to the guys out there and girls out there as well, if you were pricing that race up, would you have him at 8 to 11 or would you have him at a shorter price than that? And if the answer is you've had him shorter, then he's potentially some value. Then where we go. So Lulamba for me as well. We're a bit boring here, aren't we, Ron? Never mind. Ron's told me the weather forecast for Liverpool, so we're definitely not going to agree on the next one, but I haven't got time to rewrite it. Aintree 205, Ron, over to you.
Yeah, well, Paul Nicholls has won 4 of the 8 runnings of this. There's only been 8, so I like 10 races when I'm profiling a race. Well, the thing about his streak is he wins one, then he loses one, then he wins one, then he loses one, and that's how it's gone. So last season he won it. So I can't have his Treasure Planet this year, as much as I might like to. Now that would make it 5 from 9 if he does break the sequence. They're obviously all 3-year-olds. We've had those 8 previous runnings, as I've said. All bar one are carting exactly the same weight. So as I say, I can't profile it as I'd usually want to do because I need the 10 years trends. But if you've gone off bigger than 4 to 1, you might just as well have stayed at home. That suggests to me that the winner's going to be one of BB Muss, Edelac, or Treasure Planet. I've already said it can't be Treasure Planet. That's around 11 to 8 favourites as I speak. But because of the hit miss sequence Nicholls has, I'm going to drop him. He'll probably go and win by 20 lengths now. We've also not yet had an Irish winner of this. So for that reason, I'm ruling out BB Muss, who ran 3rd to a potential cracker of Gordon Elliott's called Mange 2. I'm going to put up the ex-Aga Khan horse making debut for the Skeltons called Edelac. Formerly with Johnny Murta. I couldn't tell you how good or otherwise he's going to be. But the fact that they're banging him into a listed race on debut, and the fact that the layers won't give you bigger than 5 to 2 right now, all suggest he might be pretty decent. We'll find out together on Saturday, but I'm going to put him up as my podcast selection, Edelac.
Well, first thing you say, it's a horrible race. As far as I'm concerned, you're right. Nothing bigger than 4 to 1's won it. I don't think. Treasure Planet heads the betting. I'm not taken with the form of that race. I think it's a 4-runner race. The 4th failed to finish for whatever reason, pulled up or unseated. The 3rd didn't run to form. The 2nd wasn't all that anyway. It couldn't do anything more than beat what's put in front of him very easily. But am I taken with that form? I want to take him at 11 to 10 for this. No, I'm not. It's just too short. So I can't cope with that. I see what you're saying about the ex-Myrtles, but only won a maiden on something like its 6th or 7th start, so was no world beater on the flat. It could be a totally different kettle of fish over jumps, can't disagree. I was hopeful of better ground, and Ron's just told me it's not going to be, so that's not going to help much, but still. So to pennies, it's just become. Lord won 3 races in a row for Ollie Murphy, I think it was, moved to Donald McCain. Opt at Cheltenham in a better race than this, to be fair. Made a very bad mistake which knocked the stuffing out of him, and I'm not convinced he liked the heavy ground, hence my concern with Ron telling me what the weather forecast is. If he gets through the ground and it's not heavy on the day and doesn't make a mistake, I could see him hitting the frame. If we're lucky, he's a 20 to 1 chance as opposed to 11 to 10, the Jolly. For those old enough to remember, 10 bob each way would be as big a bet as I'd be willing to have on him, I'm afraid,
Bob, yeah.
under those
Bob,
conditions. Or a shekel each way, whatever. So yeah, I think he's got an each way chance if the ground doesn't go against him, he doesn't make a mistake. He's got decent winning form when he shouldn't be as big as 20 to 1, but that's about it. Right, Sandown. We've always had last one already. We're rushing through them today. Sandown.
Well, it was always going to be a bit of a shorty, wasn't it? Because when you're based in Hanoi and it's getting later into the evening and you want to get your head down or a few beers down, it's going to be shorter. So we're going now onto the Tingle Creek. Sandown, 3 o'clock. John Bond's won the last 2 renewals of this, but tomorrow he's only 3rd favourite of the 5 that are set to go to post. And when they start adding things like cheek pieces and wind ups, he's racing 2nd time following a wind up on Saturday. As a punter, I know I can seriously consider laying horses like that. He's never been out of the first 2 in 24 races. He's won 13 of his 18 steeplechases. But he's now got 2 horses on his back that have stuffed him in the last 2 outings. Eel de Tomps beat him at Sandown in April. And Load of Sud cantered all over him at Cheltenham recently, as I predicted he would in the podcast, by the way. Just saying. He's not trained a Tingle Creek winner since 2016 when Underso did the business for him. But his Eel et Tomps is rated £6 clear of Load of Sud. And he produced an 18-length demolition job at Clonmel 30 days ago, which does suggest to me he's going to take the world of beating here. The stable are saying basically he won't get beaten on Saturday. He's round about 10 to 11. And again, like we've just said, we'd have the other thing at 1 to 3, not 8 to 11. I'd have this one at 1 to 2, 2 to 5, based on the form that I've got in the book and the weight differences. I expect him to confirm the form with John Bon, who he beat here by more than 5 lengths when he beat him in April. And I think the result will tell the Skeltons they probably need a different target come Cheltenham Festival time. It's got to be LA Tate Tomps for me.
Before I get onto the horse, I'm just going to mention the Tingle Creek because I have to. Because I've got to get a word in for my old mate Steve Smith Eccles, who used to ride Tingle Creek, the horse who the race is named after. I had a very quick look up. So this is Wikipedia facts we're talking here. So if somebody wants to phone in or whatever and tell me I'm talking out my backside, they're welcome to. But from what I could read, it said that he never fell in an 80 race career.
And what a jumper he was.
That's pretty impressive.
Isn't it just?
I'm really hopeful, I'm quietly confident Steve will be in one of the hospitality boxes at Sandown Saturday afternoon, earning a few
I imagine.
and deserving of every penny he gets. If you ever get a chance to run into him at one of these private boxes, do so, because he's got some very amusing stories, I can promise you that.
Raconteur.
None of which are repeatable here. Literally none of them. Back to the actual racing itself. Yeah, again, I'd love to see John Bon win it for the 3rd year in a row.
Great.
Big fan of John Bon, big fan of JP McManus, big fan of Nicky Henderson's. Let's be honest, I can't deny any of those things. But this isn't about who I like. This is about who I think will win. Yeah. And I'm with you. I think Ilete Tom wins the champion chase, quite frankly.
I do as well. Yeah.
At the moment, I don't see anything that can get anywhere near him. He won 5 of his last 6 over fences. The 3rd in the Arkle was the only blip. Defeated John Bon here in the celebration chase in April, so there's proof he handles the track. There's proof he handles the track as well as, or better than, John Bon, who's won for the last 2 years, so no issues there. He's got his race under his belt, as you say, bolted up at Clonmel, but that will have tuned him up. He's going to be totally fit or perfectly fit now. Paul Townend, as you will have read probably in the racing press quite rightly, has been called out, if you like, as a underrated jockey. He doesn't get the credit he deserves because he's seen to be, he's just riding a Willie Mullins horse. I could have won on that. Well, trust me, you and I could not have won on that, apart from the odd jockey who might be listening, and there's plenty of odd jockeys out there. Boom. Yeah, I don't see Ete's view to say, Il Ete Tom losing this, but I would like to put in a request to the BHA to stop allowing horses to be French names so that I've got a chance of pronouncing them. Thank
you. Yeah.
Getting silly
Il Ete Toms.
Yeah. Doesn't it? Monge 2, Rodney, and all that. Yes, it does.
Monge 2 as well, yeah.
It's all going a bit too much for me. So we round off with, because we're not going to do any of our demystifying this week, because it's a
rush. No, not this week.
I'll talk to Ron later about next week. I'm in Hong Kong. I don't know when or if I'll be able to do one next week, but we'll see what happens. And then after that, I'm back to the boring and rainy Blighty, apparently.
Yeah.
So we end with something for the weekend. I mean, always intrigued to hear what Ron's going to tell us.
The Kaluki Kid.
Really?
Yeah, well, I think he's about the best priced of all the horses I've mentioned during the podcast, and for that reason alone, I'm not gonna put up Ilete Tomps or Lambert or anything like that. I'm going for the Kaluki Kid. Give us all a bit of a chance.
This is the man who gave you a 14-1 winner last week, so I'm not exactly going to sit here and argue with him. We'll have to get that wide angle lens on the camera.
I know, yeah. I've got to get out that doorway yet.
And fresh off Ron saying, I'm not going to give you Ile Ete Tom or Lulamba. I'm going to give you a win double on Ile Ete Toms and Lulamba. Which is literally what I've got written down. So as you're saying it, I'm thinking, anyone who thinks we scripted this, there's the evidence we don't. But yeah, I fully understand why I wouldn't want to give one of those because it's too short. The only thing I had at half decent price was Lord or Richmond Lake, neither of which came with any kind of confidence. I guess that's the way of the world 9 times out of 10. The shorter price ones, by definition, are the ones you're going to have more confidence in because they're a shorter price, because they look the more likely to win.
It's a psychological thing. It's a psychological thing. It's like if somebody was looking at my ratings last week and saw an 80-1 shot sitting 3rd best, I can't back that. I remember on the flat, I'm going back about 10, maybe 15 years now, I had a horse, and this is no lie, it was £24 off the handicap, officially. It was my top-rated horse, and it won. I think it was about 40-1, 33-1. And these things happen. These things happen for a reason. And to go on to handicapping and ratings, Pat, if you're watching, and I hope you are, we will discuss it once Sean is back in Blighty.
Knew it'd be my fault somehow, always is.
Yeah. Fancy going away. Yeah. Fancy being in Japan for the Japan Cup.
That was, I think I sent you a video, and if not,
you did.
Everyone can get it on YouTube. The noise, with no offence to Cheltenham, one of the places I love the most, the roar when the horses go out at Cheltenham is nothing. It's silence compared to that.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's close to 80,000 people in there, and you have to go through a ballot to get a ticket to get in. Really? You can't just walk up or buy one. You have to go into a ballot because it's oversubscribed every single time. That's jealousy because we love our racing to be like that, and we all know that one of the problems is that we have too much of it, etc. But that's a discussion for another day. But there's a roar. There's even a roar when they say they're going behind the stalls.
Really?
Yeah, and they're there after. There's not all of them. Some of them disappear home. Of course they do. But there's still thousands there watching the presentation after the last race. And watching all the interviews with the trainer and the owner and the trainer's assistant and the stable lad, and there's still thousands of them gathered around watching, that interested in the racing. So it's an education.
Well, I'm not going to say I was jealous, but I was pretty jealous. I don't get jealous. I'm not envious of anybody doing anything. But I sat there and I watched that race while I was working away last weekend. And I looked at what was going on and I just thought, what you wouldn't give to be there for that.
I think he returned about 9-2 in the end, which was a ridiculous price because of the weight of money on the Japanese. And we need to add to that if you had been a subscriber to Ron's website, except newsletters, etc., you would have got my Japan right up in advance.
You'd have actually got that for free off the website.
Really?
Well, yeah, you only have to be a site member to read these articles and things like that.
This is how much he values me, everybody.
Yay!
I'm in the giveaway.
I think we're going to have to put you under a paywall.
I'm the small plastic toy at the bottom of your Cocoa Pops. That's who I am. Well, I might have that put on my gravestone now. Right, on that note.
Always free.
Always free. We're waffling on and we don't want to end with a waffle.
I know.
So we'll round it up and say, I hope the weather's nicer where you are than it sounds like it is where Ron is.
You've got no chance, I don't think.
No, dear. Hopefully we've given you some winners, something to think about, something to chat with your mates about. We're equally saying things for you to disagree with as we are for you to agree with. That's half the fun of this sport. If 50% listen to what I say and say, oh, that makes perfectly good sense, the other 50% say, this bloke's an idiot, he doesn't know what he's talking about, I'm happy with that. As long as we're discussing racing between us, who cares? And if I got it right, I wouldn't even be in Hanoi, I'd be on my yacht in the south of France. If I got
Absolutely it right.
And I'm not. So have a good weekend, one and all. I'm going to go poodle off to bed. So it sounds stupid to you lot, I guess. What's it, 2:30 your time, I think. Only 9:30 now. We've got something to eat, something to drink, and poodle off. So I will hopefully be back next week. If not, I will give a written version to Ron, which he can either read out or turn into a paper aeroplane or whatever he wants to do with it. Right. In that case, I don't know what Vietnamese is for goodbye, so I'm just going to go goodbye.
Yeah.
Speak to you all soon. Take care and have a good one.
Have a great one. See you soon.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.